welcome to round one back nine coverage of Falcon's Flight 15 presented by Innova. This Park Pro coverage is brought to you by our patrons and the PDJ of Canada. I'm Jesse Tomalty, and I am once again joined by the one and only Ben Loggains.
Thanks, Jesse. That's Benny Buckets to you, okay?
Well, if we're going by my Instagram handle, that's Jesse Tomalty to you.
Okay, right on. Okay, round one. If you didn't catch the front nine, go back and watch that. It's a amazing interview or intro to pick you up to speed.
Absolutely. And we are going to check in with our players here. We've got Ben from the call, sponsored by the Park Pro shop. I didn't notice this the first time around. Get some Buckets hats. Park Pro does have some of the best merch in the game and some sweet bucket hats. We've got Miguel Alvarado, Jackson Pease, and Justin Zimmer once again.
Yeah, Jackson. We mentioned it on the front nine, but Jackson is definitely holding together some honor for us as a card here. He's making us all look good.
Yeah, looking great off the tee, and more importantly, looking great on the putting green, not losing many opportunities.
I can tell you from being with him that day, the putting was definitely impressive, but the thing that was the most impressive was the poise. He could not have been more calm and had his stuff together.
Yeah, pro in his own right at his young age. Jumping right into hole 10, 332 feet. This one is a very beautiful shape to throw a backhand turnover around this tree that the drone is passing now, but we'll see our forehand dominant players take the tighter side on the left, scoot up into this little protected green. Most dangers here will come from misfires off the tee or being too deep in the trees to have a clean look at the basket on the putt.
Yeah, this is a frustrating one. I know it feels like it's just a point and shoot hole and you should just be able to hit your angle, but it's much more demanding than I think it looks because of that tree in the center of the fairway, and which Jackson finds right on time.
Yeah, speaking of, it does feel like one you should get after some of the holes you've played before this. There's no OB. The fairway width is a lot more generous than some of the others. But that tree just looks like it might be a bit of a aim point for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's for certain it's in the center of the fairway, in the center of the line you'd want to take to the basket. But that is the defining characteristic of the hole, is having to choose which way you're going to go around it. And then it makes it demanding, because if your height is off a little bit of what you want, then you're not going to find your angle. So I don't know what I'm going. I'm going with a buzz here, I think. And yeah, that we're all finding that tree. Ooh, I took a bit of a bounce there.
Yeah, maybe just catching the thrower's eye at the last second, making you release on that line.
Yeah, this left side is definitely, I think, the most common area for errant shots to end up. And most of the time you don't have really much of a look at the basket because the gaps are so small, as Jackson almost throws it in for the two from the fairway.
Yeah, that's a great effort from downtown.
Keeps it going. Okay, Justin from the trees. Looks like maybe he has a window. Nope.
Yeah, catching the skinny guy. Definitely tough to putt in there, not only because the lines are difficult, because those trees get in your stance, makes everything just a little more awkward. Yeah.
Oh, Miguel, I'm surprised. He's been putting well this round, so I'm a little surprised not to see him cash that one in. But yeah, I'm a little handcuffed here, but I need this for the par. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good make.
That's probably my best putt of the round since I had my hiccup there on hole 3. I feel like I remember that one really helping to settle the nerves. Is Justin feeling the nerves on that one?
Yeah, his putter hasn't looked too great this round in general. Just not coming out of his hand with a lot of spin, kind of pushing it at the basket.
Yeah, for sure. Not finishing with the fingers.
Looks like business as usual, tapping in pars for the rest of the guys.
Yeah, I appreciate on this hole that they haven't thinned any of the aspens around the green. I like that, you're truly in trouble when you get off the circle one here.
Another look at your make.
Nice to see him go in more than once. I'll take that.
Yeah.
The hair is not working. I look like a guy who hasn't slept. Okay, hole 11, big change this year. So This change, I think, mostly made for safety, but I like this change from a golf standpoint as well. We used to throw big hyzer over the top. You can see this tree here, horizontal there, the red tape. This is now a triple Mando, which importantly, they have a course official on to judge if you've made or missed that Mando, because it would be difficult being so far off the box. And then you kind of have to fish hook slightly backwards from the deepest point of the Mando to get back to this basket. Almost impossible to truly park it. It'd be very difficult or impossible to ace, I would even say. But maybe the absolute park job would be a forehand roller, but you don't really see anyone try that. You just see hyzers to maybe give yourself a 40-footer and give yourself a chance.
Yeah, the change definitely stops people from breaking the hole. I almost like that it makes them play as intended, but it does make it a very particular shot. Jackson with the lefty, very handcuffed here.
Yeah, this is a hole that really just kind of just tells you that Jackson needs to throw the other spin. Okay, this is, what is this? This is a time lapse for me. I'm looking to play some skip. Just pulled it a little bit out of the hand, but not the worst, I don't think. I should be able to see around the corner from there. Justin, I'm pretty sure this is a justice from Justin.
And that shot does him some more justice than the rest of you guys, going 3 for 3 right side off the tee, and then him kind of making it out there.
Yeah, so he throws that shorter really tight to that inside of the Mando. And generally you see people take drivers off the tee here, and that's at the end of the flight, it's taking you farther away from the basket because you're just going too long. So I think that's the wisdom of Justin's shot there is, not throwing it too far.
Absolutely. You see a lot of guys push it too straight into the long grass, right of the basket now.
Which to be fair, though, that is maybe this safer play, just to make sure that you're not cutting the inside of that Mando as tight as Justin did. But here's the reward he's got. Yeah, I mean, circle 2 look. It's a safe one. You should be able to give it some go, but he hadn't quite got the putter ripping yet. Miguel's trying to get him pumped up. Wow. Look at that stroke.
Yeah, the kid is on a heater with the putter, and it looks very confident, very direct. It's how you want your putt to look in one of these tournaments.
Yeah, easy to say that he's for sure that was the hardest that he's thrown a putt this round. Normally he throws with more touch, but I think uphill and a little swirly winds there, and knowing that he's going to hit the line, you see it come out of his hand with a little more pace than the rest of his putts. Yeah, this is a busy green. It should be noted. There's tee boxes and baskets. There's multiple tees and multiple baskets all inside of circle 2 of this basket. So this is one that for sure distractions are a big factor for you. Well, here's another look at that forehand roller.
That was pretty clean, I will say.
Yeah, it's not as hard as maybe most, right? It's pretty open. The grass is clean, and then the hill just kind of gathers it and keeps you from going too far. Okay, this is 2 holes ahead here on the par 5. Okay, these guys are cleaning up. We got a birdie from Casey to get to -2. Luke Levesque, he's -4 already, and this, wow, we'll take him to -5 for the round through 13. Yeah. And Eric, bogey. Oh, that's a tough bogey to make. This is when you want to get your strokes made up, but Eric doesn't look too torn up about it.
Not to mention that Luke's pace at 5 down through 13 is a heater on this course. Moving on to hole 12, a par 3 of 453 feet. There's a couple plays you can make, one being a layup that lands around the drone now. And with the changes to the OB, they have kind of given you more of a green light to go for this green. A little less dangerous and reachable for a lot of the guys playing in this pro division. This one, signature to this course for sure. Looking at Yoda in the OB swamp, affectionately known as Dagobah. Some other things to watch out for is rollaways on this green are very possible with a barbed wire fence OB in the back and some OB off to the right.
Yes, still extremely demanding as a par 3, even with all of the changes. But I think maybe truly a par 3 now with the changes. Love these ones. As Jackson throwing something slower, definitely attempting to stay short of the lake. He should have something to scramble from there.
This looks great from Miguel. This is where you would probably place your disc on a layup if you had the choice.
Yeah, that was wise there from Miguel. He threw something with some turn. I generally throw something more stable and try to force it on edge, but I generally make that mistake. I head to that tree quite a bit. I might be learning something from Miguel there, throwing something with a little bit of turn to keep it straight till the end. As we see Justin make the opposite mistake, throwing something with that's a little straighter.
Yeah, sticking his finger out, trying to get the remote control to activate, and he looks like he ends up in pretty decent position.
Yeah, even with all of us throwing the layup here, you can see this playing this par 3 for 3, trying to lay it up, still very demanding. That doesn't look out of bounds to me. I think that's just the circle 1 whisker.
I think that's the circle 1 whisker, but we should mention the tightest OB now is on the right side, as there's a tee box that needs to be protected over there.
For sure, yeah.
Whoa. And with a little luck, we get some skipping up off the swamp into inbounds.
Wow. Yeah, wow. That's nicely done from Miguel as well. Yeah, that was a touch and go in there for me. That maybe not a spot where I would go for it every time, but worked out this time. Tomahawk. Righty tomahawk from our lefty into the rough left side. That used to be OB, but now that's a safe one.
Yeah, kind of a nice place to bail out short left, so you don't have to take the rollaway into the fence at the back into consideration.
Yeah, look at his par there. Maybe that's coming up short with that OB on the right side you're talking about in his head a bit. Par look from Justin if he was in. Yeah, he looks to be playing from the lie where his disc settled there. We'll see maybe when the scores come up here. That's a good
putt for you. Yeah, that's the putt you want to make after the putting start you had.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm guessing at this point I'm probably surprised when they're coming out clean like that. I remember feeling this was about as rattled as I've ever felt from a non-course hiccup like that, so still not totally seeing straight. Yeah, okay, so just a bogey there for Justin. So I think that upshot was inbounds. And bogey for Jackson there as well. Thanks to Donnie. That's our tournament director buying that basket for the course.
Yeah, good time to shout out all of our volunteers. Don especially. He's even got his daughter out here selling raffle tickets all night at the fire. That family is committed to making this the best event possible.
Quote from Master Yoda there. He told me that there is no try, only do or not do.
And you dude.
Okay, here we go. So, Noah here. Wow, these guys are all cleaning up birdies here. This is how you'd think this hole should go. As long as you make smart decisions, you should be able to play this hole for birdie. Okay, bogey for Watson there. So Daryl taking the lonely bogey there, but everyone else getting a stroke on the field there. Okay, another look. Okay, Noah Higgins -4, Luke Levesque -4. Oh, so Luke has bogeyed on 14 because we saw him at -5, right?
Yes, that means he did take a bogey and is now tied up with Noah.
Okay, Jackson the pace slowing there a little bit at -3 after the bogey on 12. And EHO hanging on strong at -3 as he was through 4 holes. 13, personal favorite of mine. I think this is maybe the most enticing of all the fairways, but also the most daunting or intimidating. Right-handed backhands will find themselves really cramped on their hand on the right side of the fairway, forcing you to either maybe yank it to the right or take a little off it. You'll sometimes see some folks throw some mids to the top of the hill and then maybe attack the green for eagle, trying to go over the top or a layup. Either way, this green is surrounded with OB, short through this narrow isthmus over to the basket, which is also surrounded by OB. So decision-making paramount here. You really don't want to be attacking this green unless you're certain that you can, at worst, pass over inbounds close to the basket.
Yeah, the eagle, once you're at the top of the hill or further, always starts to become the bait that either makes or breaks the hole for you.
Yeah, so Miguel makes the initial gap, which I think is the important part of getting a birdie, and this roll could put him to a spot that'll entice him for going for that eagle. This is a boss from me. I'm going for all of it here. Stripe this fairway. That's about as good as I can throw it. Yeah. And generally I skip into that exact patch of rough, which I'm content with throwing the faster disc. I feel confident hitting the gap throwing the fast disc, and so I don't generally throw something slower here.
Jackson looks like he grounds his out at the top of the hill. Luckily not in the woods. That's one of the ways to spell disaster on this hole, is to be in the trees early, scrambling out, and then feeling like you have to force the play to the green.
Justin, okay, so now we get a look at the conservative play here from Justin, and it pays off. He does hit the fairway. I think the most frustrating thing you see happen here is folks going for that play that Justin had and throwing a putter or mid off the tee, and then they still pull it into the rough. That's not a situation I want to find myself in. Okay, and he commits to the layup. So we see layup for Justin. And he could have easily attacked with a driver over the top there, but this is beautifully done from him, staying disciplined and executing, because it's not as easy to do it even when you do decide to be conservative.
Yeah, he's put himself in beautiful position for a very routine birdie, as has Miguel now.
Wow, but for Miguel, that's an aggressive layup. Like, he's far enough that if he had missed his line, he would have been OB. Probably not intentional to go that far, I would guess, but same for Jackson. Wow.
Yeah,
so they both throw it long of the OB left and right stakes without going all the way to the green. Oi, oi, oi.
And
okay, so that's
what was the thought
worst
process
spot to
with
go
that
OB.
one?
You know, I was trying to hop it to the right of that big dirt mound, and I do remember it hitting a downslope of one of the divots there and just kind of boosting it forward, which turns it a little quicker. But my thought process was definitely putting a roller through the green, and if it wasn't in bounds, it would be out of bounds and still putting for birdie. But this left edge OB is the worst, because now if I attempt to go through here and don't make it, I'm throwing the same shot from right here. So this is a tin cup situation on the line. Tomahawk. Yeah.
OB, but within the circle on the dance floor.
Yeah, exactly. I had to make sure to cross there. Miguel, can he keep it going? Whew, that's a look for eagle.
Yeah, once you're that close, you've got the green light to try something, as long as you've got one of those putts that come down. The roll away, always still a factor, but maybe mitigated by a putt.
Wow.
Yeah.
They don't roll away when they do that.
No, not from the bottom of the cage. That's a fantastic putt. He is on an absolute putting streak here. I think the only one we saw him miss was the long ball on 12.
Yeah, that's, for sure. Okay, yeah, and so I needed that one to save a par, even after a smoked drive. That's disappointing to walk away with bogey off of a drive that was in, 189 feet of the basket probably off the tee?
Yeah.
So certainly a missed opportunity when you know you could have. At this point, I'm just wondering, like, I could have gone jump putt, tap in a birdie, and here I am walking away with bogey.
That is that eagle bait we might have been talking about, because that roller was intended to go for the green to put you in eagle position, I'm assuming.
For sure. But yeah, I'm still living vicariously through Jackson here, who was making this look like a good day on this course. Okay, we're going to get another look with the third card here with Mr. Hannemeyer, the always intimidating. Okay, this is on 16, the par 4. Because I do remember actually watching this putt from Luke from RT. We were waiting to tee off while he was throwing this putt. So I believe this is his birdie look.
Wow.
And bang from the tall grass. That's probably every bit of 65, I want to say.
Yeah.
Count the steps there.
Edge of circle 2 potentially, and definitely obstructed by those trees. And no way.
Yeah, a lot of pace there from Josh, and flat as well, and just catches a lot of pull somehow.
That doesn't feel good when you're 5 over for the round. And I'm assuming that, yeah, as he taps in his par, that was his birdie putt.
Wow, so he'd played the hole pretty well to that point, and including that shot. Okay, 14 tells about it.
Yeah, 14, 425, a very, very difficult birdie. Players will typically play over the right side trees here and try and land in the next choke of the fairway, giving themselves a very long bid and routine par. Players trying to make something happen can throw very shapely hyzer flip to turnover drivers or flex forehand shots for a chance at the green. Biggest danger would be playing the over-the-top shot and leaving it a bit too wide coming down early into the trees. This right side rough is mostly firs instead of the typical aspens, and it is a much more difficult rough to get out of.
Yeah, this is good height from Miguel. He's not even thinking about the birdie here. That is exactly how you draw up the conservative play here, to just play a hyzer to the fairway, make sure you have enough height, and then try to keep it on line so that it's spiking down somewhere in the fairway.
This is
so
go
Jackson. Well, why wouldn't you, right? So Jackson, 500 feet of power on the left-hand side. I think that's probably the smart play for him.
And yeah, it's the shot that shapes up best. The lefty power backhand, which we don't get to see too often, shapes the fairway the best. And I think he might have scooted up to the circle had he not caught that last protective fir there.
Yeah, I think he maybe needed a little bit more height to get that glide off to the left and not catch that tree, but okay, this is not high enough is what that is.
But very lucky to come back and find the fairway.
Yeah, I've been in those aspens on the right that I hit there. Okay, and grenade now. Trying to bring one down. I thought that was good out of my hand, but it just went a little right late.
A great idea. Released a little further left, you might have even gotten away with it.
Yeah, the left side where Justin is, I think that's the smarter side to miss to. For whatever reason, it looks awful and like jail over there, but it does seem easier to scramble than if you're anywhere right of where we see Jackson throwing his approach from. Anything to the right, trying to go through that side is you're really not going to get up and down for a par.
No, absolutely not. This camera angle and this camera angle shows what you can be contending with inside a circle 2 distance.
Yeah, and there's not really lines through there. Like it may look like there's certainly spots on the course that look similar to this, that you have gaps to putt through, and that spot in there really isn't much. Well, there's a good putt from Justin.
Yeah, we like to see him make one of those and finish out with a stronger putting performance. It's definitely the thing that might have held his round back this time. Oh, no.
Yeah, that one was pulled a little bit, and that was for a bogey, so now I'm looking at a double. Going to take me to +7 for the round, which is, 7 the opposite way of where you're wanting to go.
But extraordinarily doable on this course. We're treated to seeing the best rounds played here, and I promise you, even in the Pro Division, we see double-digit rounds, multiple, every year.
Yeah, okay, so another look for the putt from Justin. Gets it to go. Beautiful. Okay, second card check-in. Okay, Noah Higgins here, sitting at -5. That to go to -6, unbelievable. That's a scary putt too. You might not see it on the camera, but where the camera is sitting right now is out of bounds. So if he runs that by down the hill, that is gone for sure. Okay, an EHO. This card's having a good day.
Yeah, 2 birdies. Also like to comment on Noah's putt a little bit. He's typically a stagger putter. I know that straddle stance is not his favorite, and he makes it look very routine.
Yeah, showing off the flexibility. Okay, hole 15, down the fence line. Reminiscent of hole 9 as we saw to finish out our front 9 there, but for certain, danger on the left. Your left hand or the left side of your body's crowded by these trees, and you'll want to be aggressive here, but the OB barbed wire fence you see right there is, maybe 2.5 meters from the basket. So anything that's fading out that way or even just kicks a tree is certainly going out of bounds near the basket. So one at this point in the round, 2 where folks are tired, and it just seems like maybe 1 out of 4 actually hit this fairway generally.
Yeah, and as Miguel shows you, the mental pressure of that OB line the whole way up the fairway, you typically see them either early released because of the awkward nature of throwing up the hill, or pulled out of nerves for putting it out of bounds. Miguel definitely thinking about that fence when he released his disc.
I don't know if you caught it there, Jesse, but our catch cam fellow was very impressed with Jackson's drive there.
Yeah, it looked like it might scoot OB at the end, but it looks like he's probably parked.
Okay, and we're holding true to the 1 out of 4 inbound statistics there.
Like if you put your
Okay, so this disc is stuck in a tree directly above the OB line. And so we're trying to get in there and look, and you can see just how thick all these trees are. It's hard to even get your head in there to see, but I argued for myself there and got the benefit of the doubt, but it was for sure over part of the line.
Yeah, when you're making these calls, it might feel awkward, but advocating for yourself is advocating for your tournament score, and nobody else will do it for you.
Yeah, and honestly as well, like I think it was in bounds, and certainly easier to convince folks to see it your way when you're +7 and it's round 1 than when you're tied with 2 holes at the end. But in my experience, that's really unlucky seeing that one go out.
Yeah, just
but
barely.
Yeah, in my experience, folks are pretty honest with calls even when they do matter.
No, absolutely. The disc golf community is very good in those situations. Don't ask anybody to call a foot fault, but I've never had an unfair OB call.
Yeah, so Miguel he couldn't see the tree that he hit. So when he threw that tomahawk, he thought that it was excellent and then heard a noise and was like, what? What did I hit?
Jackson Pease.
So coming back from deep, from hole 3's tee pad on the west course, makes another putt from the west side.
Yeah, really taking advantage of that hyzer shape he likes to putt with.
Ooh, I don't know if you could tell, but that putt there wasn't actually good for me. I pulled that short one a little, and you can see the look on my face. Still not really feeling too confident. Is Justin still not getting... I thought you might see a little more confident stroke from him after the good one he made on the last hole, but that one as well, not with the normal amount of spin on it. Okay, big spread from us there. A par, a bogey, a birdie, and a double. So a 2, 3, 4, and a 5.
Yeah, very colorful. But
is
honestly,
this the same putt we've been watching all day? I feel like we've seen this highlight already.
Yeah, Jackson Pease Groundhog Day. Good enough for 3rd place for him on our scoreboard. 1 behind the tied lead of Noah Higgins and Luke Levesque. T4, EHO, and Chunk 3 down. Score still very tight. Going back down to even for Austin, and a 3-way tie for 7th between Steve, Eric, and Connor Mickelson.
Yeah, you can see it there, Jesse. We talk about this east side, just anything under par being good, and it holds true. Under par would put you on our leaderboard today.
Checking in now with hole 18. This is Luke's putt, and it looks no.
Okay, it looked to be online, but not quite. Josh, ooh, that's a banger for the birdie.
Yeah, not his best round, but a great feeling to finish on a birdie. Have something to walk back to camp with, to be proud of.
Absolutely. A rare miss from Hannemeyer. The tall guy, his hand can see over the bump of logs there, but -3, he's in position. I can promise you he'll be okay with that. He knows that anything in that -2, 3, 4 range is all you need to be in position at this event. Luke, we see now that would have been a birdie putt. He remains at -6. Eric fast, looking to get off the course. That is a bogey, unfortunately, but all smiles from that guy.
Yeah, and the best shirt in disc golf.
Absolutely.
Hole 16 now, one of my favorite holes on the course. There is an OB pond that you can see staked right here. It does not typically come into play. Most players will try and throw something either layup-like that settles where our group of players is standing now beside the classic boneyard. Other players definitely can have the power to find themselves a putt. Danger comes into play on the approach, as you can see the tight OB stakes just behind the basket.
Yeah, this is a beautiful one. So we used to have this as a par 3, really just straight in front of you and not pushed off into this guarded green. And it was a chance to maybe try to separate, but they saw so few birdies on this one that they pushed it back, maybe added some more intrigue, and I think more importantly, another chance to make a decision. If you're trying to throw big or throw short, as you mentioned, you could talk yourself into a lot of different options now.
Yeah, I think that's a go for it from Jackson. Just released a little low.
Yeah, this is going back to that red boss that I hit a fairway with a few holes ago, but that is yanked.
And the friendliest out I think we've seen.
Yeah, I forgot actually. I was laying this one up with the with the boss off the right side.
Yeah, just throwing a disc you're comfortable with.
My goodness. That's smooth from Miguel, but not quite committed enough. Maybe a little too smooth. Didn't have the spin to stay straight.
Yeah, maybe looking to get a little bit more sit up out of that disc. Yeah, just like Justin's doing here. This is a great shot.
Yeah, and the height, that's so low that even if he's off a little bit, it's still going to stay in the fairway. Even if it had a little too much hyzer, a little too much ante, he would have still been in the fairway. Okay, this is my putting putter, the same one that I'm putting. Yeah, it's uncommitted. Didn't get it over on the ante that I wanted. I was just looking for a little nose up ante shot to land flat, but okay, is this gonna be a big tall spike from Jackson? Looks like it.
Yeah, pushing the tops of the trees. I don't think he'll be able to cut it tight enough inside. Yeah, going all the way over.
Wow. Watch your heads. Okay, so short of where we saw Luke Levesque make his putt from earlier. We get a look at one of the bones there near the boneyard. So, yeah, Miguel having to take his medicine. That rough over there on that side is awful.
Very tight, and in those scenarios when you can't get a proper swing, it just makes that OB more and more likely.
That was beautiful from Miguel. You saw the nose up on the disc, having the back of the disc hit the ground first. Ooh, contrary to what we see from Justin here, that lands on hyzer.
That's going to be one that has to get called in or out. I got a feeling that was a run from Justin.
Yeah, I think just the shape of the trees there, he didn't have the option to throw something flatter. So when you have to bring it on hyzer like that, you might as well try to dunk it on the way in, but then you don't have the luxury of, controlling the speed the same way you do with a flat shot. So I'm throwing an ante here. This is my turning putter. Caught the branch. I remember thinking that one was good out of the hand, but they don't go through trees. As you see Justin having as good of a look down the line as he possibly can. Believe it or not, folks, part of that disc is inbounds, but it is a razor's edge close.
Oh my gosh,
and that stake is kind of tricking your eyeball because the way that it's driven in the ground, the flat edge makes it look like the disc is out, but the flat edge isn't actually aligned to the next stake over. So that one, we called it in. Justin makes good with the birdie. Shake of the head.
But that's taking advantage of that inbounds call.
Yeah, for sure. And at one point there, that disc was a foot and a half out of bounds before it curled back up. But
a lot of pars. And the surprising amount of pars is this was actually the easiest hole versus par for the day, with 49% of the field getting a birdie, 36% par, and only 8 players going bogey or worse.
I guess that just kind of speaks to the difficulty of the other holes out here, because even the par 5 we saw earlier has perhaps just more danger.
Yeah, let's go. That was nasty.
Okay, and EHO sitting at -3 still as he was through 4 holes, and oh my gosh. That's what is it, a 60-footer?
Yeah, he's such a high-paced direct putter that even without much of a jump, he can put a scare on a basket from circle 3.
Yeah, a lot different than what we see from Brendan there. Floating that one in beautifully. Noah, he doesn't look as happy as he ought to be. Hey, -7 on the east side is, as hot of a round as you ever hear of out here.
And I think, as far as we know, good for the solo lead.
Okay. 17. This is a hyzer and then a hyzer again. So you got to get left, but if you let it fall left naturally where you think, you're going to be well short and not left enough. This one's got to push way, way out, and then you can see the precision here. So the gravel road left there is out of bounds, and the aspens aren't really allowing anything to fall back in or allowing any birdie putts. So if you're trying to get all the way to pin high here, you're going to have to land it on a postage stamp. And I think the big thing here is getting a good wind read, but then using your imagination to picture where this basket is and try to land it accurately.
It's definitely more left of where you would try to visualize it on the tee. I think the most successful shots are the ones that cut that aspen tight on the left side.
Yeah, for sure. This looks a little inside, maybe heading for that gravel road. Never mind. That just shows you how much of a trick it is. It's so much farther left than you realize, but Justin's just got so much power that I think we see him get all the way there. So on this one is overturned, but could it roll in?
Yeah, that's the danger of the disc selection. I know that was a polecat again. Jackson, an absolute ripper to take a polecat out for 391, but it never really starts to pan back and straighten out. Carries all the way left.
Okay, this one, yeah, you can see it going left of Rudy's old house there. That's out of bounds, and it was in a weird spot where there weren't even lines anymore, so we ended up having to get a group call there, but ultimately it didn't not matter either way because it was in an awful spot.
Yeah, Miguel looks very wide, very safe. Yeah, that's a very common place to land on this hole. A big par producer. As it produces, as your shots give a lot of 70, 80 footers, and the OB chokes the basket at the end. So most people smartly lay up.
Yeah, for Miguel, Miguel can throw over 400 feet with ease. But I don't, he doesn't really have that 520 class, which I think to land this on as tall of a hyzer as you need to, and truly park it, I think you do need the 500 or at least 490 feet of power to actually put this one really close. So I think for Miguel, that is the play. Trying to throw that one in from the drop zone, but, I'm just wishing at this point at 7 over.
It's a very challenging drop zone. Again, if you're putting with enough height and pace to try and make it from that drop zone, it brings the fade out into the OB in, and you wisely go to the forehand.
Yeah, and you can see it from Miguel there that laying up on the drive does not mean he's content to take par, as he's more than happy to give this basket a go with his nose up style. Yeah, I ended up in an okay spot, but putting towards the out of bounds on a shaky putting day, that's a good make for me to get off the hole with just a bogey.
The rest of their gang should clean up their pars here. And to go back to the stats, this was the most parred hole of the day, with 70% of the field carding a par.
I believe it. I think most of the field's smart enough to know how to avoid the OB, and then from there it's pretty tough. Even if you throw in a good one, it's you're not likely to be, inside of 20 feet. A thumbs up from Jules there.
Only 2 birdies on the day.
It's a good looking swing. That's how you throw a hyzer, folks. You see his eyes up high, the disc coming outside in. That's beautiful. Yeah, and then the shrug, because you really don't know. You really don't know until you get up there.
Hole 18, one of the most iconic finishing holes in Canadian disc golf. You first have to navigate this triple Mando arch and then the late gap settling into this little protected knoll green. There's also OB to the left side on the road to protect things. Does not typically come into play. You'll see a lot of discs hit the trees. The drone is passing now, leaving long downhill looks for errant drives, but one that is not the hardest on the course to birdie. and produces a lot of color.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this one, the site of a few black aces. You'll see folks from time to time accidentally smash that basket on the Aspen Meadows side. But yeah, this hole, when you drive up, this is the one that you see as you pull in and lets you know that you're here. And then it's also the one that you say goodbye to on the way out.
A little card camaraderie, fist bumps, high fives, even to spectators and finished players. Guys getting ready to go open a beverage and have dinner in their campsites.
Yeah, the round one vibes are always the best because things are just a little bit lighter. And for Miguel, they stay that way right to the final round. But just a slight miss there we see from Justin. Miguel looking to close out strong, sitting at +2. He's not out of the event yet. If he can pick up a birdie here, this is a little high.
Yeah,
Needs this to sit down.
Ooh. Kicking towards the OB, but should be safe.
Yeah, put him to probably 70 or 80 feet. We'll see. Jackson needs that to turn, and it does not. Should be safe to scramble a 3 from there. Not too much trouble over there. Okay, this is my favorite disc. This is my Hawk Lab dyed Proxy. That the disc I'm the most confident with right now, but it's the first time I've thrown it all day. Boom, that's a dime. Oh yeah, I must have been thinking it was going in from where we were sitting. Yeah, I think it hit the tree behind the basket off the turn.
It had a great line. I thought you might hit the tree in the gap, but you are right. If you're saying that is the disc you're the most confident with, it does everything you're asking of it.
Jackson gonna leave a little meat on the bone here for his last hole. For the par. Wow, some tricky shapes for Miguel there as well. I would have thought that'd been pretty straightforward, but honestly, that basket kind of in his way. Justin just wants that to sit as it lands on hyzer again. But yeah, not too bad of a roll away there.
Oh, Jackson's long putt.
Needs this to cap off. Man, it's been such a good day. Jackson has gone backwards here quite a few. As for as many highlights as we've seen him have today, he's just kind of given back a couple of loose strokes. They're going to take him back to only -3 for the day.
He was putting so well
just
early
went off
on.
the course.
I was more surprised that didn't go in.
Yep, absolutely. Justin gets out of there with a par, 3 under on his last, or 1 under on his last 3 holes there. Jackson disappointed, but he doesn't show it. He knows he's had a good day either way. Still on that happy side of par.
And you look ready for a shower and a good night's sleep.
Absolutely. Maybe 2 of them. One last round of fist bumps here on the green. This is a nice spot, everybody. Even though it's not a lead card, everyone's ready. We're the last folks to finish up from the day, so everyone's ready to get us off the course and maybe enjoy a beer.
Even the last place amateur cards get the pleasure of having a gallery on this one.
Absolutely. Okay, one last look at our leaderboard here. Noah Higgins will take that solo lead as we suspected into the second round. So Luke Levesque at -6. Those are both outrageously good starts. Everyone else under par from 1 to 3 there. We see Casey Hannemeyer, our usual suspect, still in position for a win here, without a doubt. A lot of strokes to fly. We see -10s and we see +5s from good players on the west side. So a lot of jockeying will happen in day 2. We'll have to stay tuned for that.
Yep.
Any final thoughts for us, Jesse?
I love Aspen Meadows, and I love our viewers who should come back for round 2 tomorrow. Keep it locked to Park Pro for more Falcons Flight 15 action.
Okay, peace out.
Bye.